I'm gonna do a video for this lesson just because I haven't done one in a while. And statistics, mean, median, mode, range, all this stuff is super important, not just in Algebra 1, just to know for life. Um, you guys should have seen something like this in middle school, 8th grade. You should have learned about the mean, the median, the mode, the range, all this good stuff, but it's super important to know exactly what it is and to have a nice little recap of what it is. So here, make sure you guys are taking all the notes on this, okay? Because I'm going to ask you, this is going to be an Edpuzzle. I will probably post some questions and I will want the notes sent to me or signed, posted on Google Classroom. Okay, so make sure you're taking those. Just on scrap paper is fine. So which tells you more about a set of data? The mean, the median, or the mode? And there's really not one exact answer. It really is, it depends. Okay? That's the short, easy answer. It depends on the data. Okay? And what I mean by that is you'll see in some examples coming up. It really depends on what the data looks like. Is the mean, the median, or the mode the best way to describe the data? In most cases, it's going to be the mean though, because the mean, remember, is your average. Right? If you guys think back when we were actually in school, we took a lot of tests and quizzes. If you want to know the average of all those of your test scores, you take all your tests, you add them up, and you divide by the number of tests that we took. And that will give you your average score. The median, that is your middle value. So if you took all your numbers in your data set, you put them in order, right? 1, 3, 7, and I don't know, 12 and 13, right? Just say these were my numbers in some imaginary data set. Well, the middlemost number would be, if I cross out left and right, my median in this case would have been 7, right? And then you also have your mode. The way I always remember mode is that it looks a lot like the word most, right? It's the number that occurs the most in your data set. Okay? So get all that stuff down if you haven't gotten it. And I'm going to erase everything. So if you don't have it, pause this and then you can get it. So, measures of central tendency. You have the mean and you have the median. Now, the mean, again, we just went through this thing. Tells you the average, and without getting too much into it, you want to use the mean when you have, how should I represent this without giving you away too much? I'm going to give you this vocab word and I'll go through it after. You want to use the mean if you typically have no outliers. And you might be thinking, what is that word? What is an outlier? And I will explain it in a few minutes. So typically that's when you want to use the mean. Now, for the median, you would typically want to use the median if you have outliers. And this will all be explained in the coming examples. All right, so just get that down and let's go on to the first example that we have. So we're going to have two scenarios. Here's the first one. It's ages of people on the bus. And it wants us to find three things. It wants us to find the mean, median, and the mode, right? So the first thing I always do with a set of data is I want to make sure that it's in order from least to greatest. So 2, 21, 21, 25, 30, 82, 89. Perfect. This is in order. So that means that we can now find what we need. We can find the mean. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to add up all of these. 2 plus 21 plus 21 plus 25 plus 30 plus 82 plus 89. And what is that going to give us? Well, let's pull out the calculator. Whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this right here. So we got 2 plus 21 plus 21 plus 25 plus 30 plus 82 plus 89. Add all those up and we divide by the total number of numbers. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to take 270 and divide it by 7 to get our mean of about 38.57. Okay, so our mean is about 38.57. Sweet. Now, for the median, again, what I'm going to do is it's in order here, so I like to cross out first and last, first and last, first and last, and then we should be left with one number here, which is our median, which is 25. Okay. And the last piece is to find the mode. Now again, remember what mode means. It means the number that occurs the most. The most. So, look at your set of data. What number occurs the most here? We have 1, 2, we have two 21s, 21, 21, 125, 130, 182, 189. So what number occurs the most? It's definitely 21. So we just found the mean, the median, and the mode. So the average age of the people on the bus is 38.57. The median age, kind of the number in the middle, is 25. And the age that occurred the most on the bus is 21. Okay, pretty cool. So we'll come back to this to see which one is more appropriate to describe this central tendency. Would we want to use the mean, or would we want to use the median to describe this? And we will come back to it. Let's go on to the next problem though. Here we have a data set with people's salary, how much they make in 1 year for people at a bank. So these are, let's say these are bank tellers, or I don't know what people do at banks, but here are the salaries of these people. So it says in thousands of dollars. So this person makes $22,000. This person makes $28,000. This person makes $41,000, $44,000, $62,000, $65,000, and $258,000. That's a lot of money. So I want you guys to go ahead and find the mean for this. Okay, so it's going to ask an Edpuzzle question, so answer it now, and then I will go through it myself on the calculator here. Okay, so if I add them all up, I get $520,000. But how many people work? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 520 divided by 7. So the mean salary, the average salary, is about 74.29. And again, this is in thousands of dollars. Okay. What's the median salary? Well, they're all in order. So I'm going to cross out one at a time. front, back, back, front, back, and there is our median number. So our median is 44,000, I should say. And then we also have the last piece, which is the mode. Which number occurs the most? Well, let's see. We have 22, 28, 41, 44, 62, 65, and 258. Is there any number that occurs the most, if you think about it? No, you don't really see a number that occurs more than once. So it's definitely possible to have no mode. You just put none. There is no mode in this data set. Huh, okay. And again, which one would we want to use here? Would we want to use the mean or the median to describe this data set? Well, we'll go back to it. Here we go. This is good. This is actually the same exact numbers as the previous page. All right, so we're taking these numbers, and now we just found the mean, the median, and the mode, but it's asking which is the outlier. And that is a very important word for picking which one, the mean or the median, would be best to describe the data set. The way I like to describe the outlier, make sure you guys definitely write this down. An outlier, the way I think of it, is the number that lies outside the rest of the numbers, right? It's a number that doesn't really belong. So a number that lies outside the rest of the numbers. Okay? And the reason I state it like that is because it uses the words lies, okay, which is right here, and then outside. Outlier lies outside. Well, that's why I use it like that, because it's pretty similar to this piece here. So, looking at this data set, these numbers here, which number would you think is the outlier? It's definitely 258. Again, this is in thousands of dollars, right? 258 is most definitely the outlier in this data set. Because look, we have 22, 28, 41, 44, 62, 65. Okay, those are all at least double-digit numbers. They're all pretty close to each other. But then 258, that's way out there in terms of numbers, right? It's not close to any of these other ones. So to fill in, we already found these numbers, right? We found the mean, the median, and the mode. The mean was 74.29. The median, we said, was 44. And the mode, well, there was none. No number repeats more than once. But now, check this out. What happens when you remove the outlier? So what happens to all these other numbers if we now remove this number here? So let's just say this number doesn't even exist now. What's going to happen to my mean, my median, and my mode? Well, we're going to have to recalculate the mean. So what we're going to do is this whole thing again, except we're not going to add the 258 now. So I'm going to erase this 258. Right? So now I get 262, but again, I need to divide by how many numbers there are. How many are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 262, whoops, not what I wanted. 262 divided by 6 gives me a much different number, about 43.6 repeating. Much different from 73 or 74.29, right? Now what's the new median number? Well, numbers are still in order, we just have to cross them out now. So 22, 65, 28, 62. Now I can't cross this out because it wouldn't be even on this side. I would have 3 crossed out on this side and only 2 on this side. So what do? We take the average of these two numbers. We take 41 plus 44, and we want to divide that by 2 because we're finding the mean of these. So what's that going to be? 41 plus 44 divided by 2. So the median is 42.5. Okay. And now think about it. Is the mode going to change? We didn't have one in the first place. If we got rid of a number, there's still no number that repeats twice. No, that's not going to change. There's still no mode, which is fine. So take a look at the dramatic difference here in values, specifically the mean and the median. Okay? Notice how the mean, 74.29, became 43.6 just by removing that one number of 258, right? That is a dramatic difference. So the mean went from 74.29 to 43.6 repeating. Huge difference. What about the median? Well, the median went from 44 to 42.5. Not much of a difference at all, right? So which one was much greater impacted? Well, it was definitely the mean. That was highly impacted, right? And hopefully that makes sense to you. Because the mean is the average. If I'm adding this outlier number of 258, if I'm adding this to my pretty normal data set of these numbers, it's definitely going to affect the data in a big way. It's going to add this number and it's going to increase the average by a lot. In this case, almost $30,000. Okay? And that's why it's super important to understand which central tendency you want to use to describe the data. So notice how we would use the mean if there was no outliers, and this is a perfect example. So for this example, we definitely want to use the median because there's an outlier here, right? If there's an outlier, you definitely are going to want to use the median because if you use the mean, if you have an outlier, your data will be skewed, affected, not accurate, I should say. Well, it's accurate, but it's not a good way to describe it, the mean, right? But then if we look at this one, look at this data set. Is there any outliers? Again, an outlier, guys, it's a number that lies outside the majority of the other numbers. No, I wouldn't say that's an outlier. It's pretty close to 21, 21, and 25. All right, 21, 21, 25, 30, 82. That could be an outlier, except that there's another number that's pretty similar to it in 89. So there are no outliers here. You would know if there was an outlier when you saw it. So if there's no outlier, you're going to want to use the mean to describe the central tendency. best way to describe it. Okay? So now last piece, guys, same exact numbers as before, okay, same data set, except now it's giving us all these weird looking things, and what these things mean are super, super important, okay? And the way we're going to find this is with our calculator. There's a very easy way to find all the things you need for central tendencies. You can find the mean, the median, the range, the max, the min. You can find all these things from the calculator, and you're going to have this out right now, okay? So the first thing you got to do in the calculator, step 1, you got to go to stat, this button here, okay? Go to stat. Next, you want to hit enter. You want to hit just the enter button, number 1. Okay? So we're hitting edit. And now it brings up this awesome, well, kind of awesome, this little table here, L1, L2, L3. This is where you enter your set of numbers, right? So I want to enter all these numbers into L1. So I'm going to type 22, hit enter, 28, hit enter, 41, hit enter, and so on and so forth. Get all those numbers in there. Okay. Once you have all those numbers into your data set, you want to hit stat again. Okay? So stat, enter, input your data values, input your numbers. Once you have that, you want to hit stat again. But now you want to go over to calc, C-A-L-C. Just hit that over button. Then you want to hit the first option you see, one var stats, and that just stands for one variable. So one var stats, enter, 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 and then it brings up this awesome little piece here. Brings up everything we need. X bar, S of X, N, min, Q1, Q2, Q3, max, everything that actually is right here. So, the first thing you gotta know is X bar, this top piece here, that just means the mean. X bar is your mean value. So in this case, it says that X bar is 74.28, and that is exactly what we got on the previous page for our mean, which is good. Now it says the minimum value in our data set is 22. Okay. And that's definitely right. 22 is the lowest. It says Q1 is 28. And we will get to that in our next unit, our next lesson. It says our median is 44. Okay. It says Q3 is 65. And it says our max is 258. Right? Now, I think I'm going to hold off on the range and the IQR for now. Okay? This is enough for today. We've done a lot with this. Just understand the big key concept of what we just learned, okay? Measures of central tendency. If there are no outliers, you're going to want to use the mean. If there's an outlier, you're going to want to use the median to describe the data set. And then we just got a lot of practice with finding the mean, the median, and the mode, okay? 2 good examples. One where you see the difference between having an outlier and not, and then using the calculator to find all that stuff, okay? And that will be the end of this video.